Anti-smoking advertising. Can you be scared into quitting? My name is Sawyer Hardy, and today I want to talk to you about some of the aspects that advertisers and the government use to try to steer people away from smoking cigarettes. Various initiatives have been used over the years to prevent smoking and have been used by various different, whether it's the government or a private association. And one of the main campaigns from recent years that pops into my head is obviously the Truth campaign. The Truth campaign targets young people like me, like myself, and kind of uses sometimes humor or sometimes it uses that fear tactic to encourage smokers to quit. To steer, high schoolers, college-age people, maybe even beyond that a little bit, to stop walking into those liquor stores, stop walking into those gas stations, and purchasing cigarettes. And that's all digital advertising mainly. The graphic warnings on cigarette packages are mainly used by the government. The government also raises taxes on cigarettes, things like this. Public smoking bans in certain areas. Those are the main tactics that the government will use to steer people away. Fear appeals are interesting because they show the health risks linked to smoking, like lung cancer, emphysema, things like this. Main thing being cancer. Lung cancer is the main thing people think of. Smoking, okay, lung cancer, because of all these advertisements over the years. But fear appeals don't always work on the people who are like, I just need a cigarette to get through the day. I'm not too worried about it. They are mainly focused on the people who are, anxiety ridden. They're worried about their health. And they'll see that and be like, okay, maybe I don't want to smoke a cigarette. I do not want lung cancer. So that's kind of targeting the people that are worried about their health issues. But maybe it brings to light someone that's been smoking for years. Hey, you might have some lung issues down the line. So it can be, it has its pros and cons. It can be helpful. I'll touch on that a little bit later. Habituation, based on what Chapter 6 says, is interesting because it has an effect on how fear appeals work over time, like I just mentioned. So, like I mentioned before, the Truth campaign, I remember that from my childhood, seeing these ads all over, social media, whatever it is, when I'm scrolling YouTube maybe, I got desensitized to it. And that's kind of what habituation talks about. It's repeated stimuli that kind of gets you numb to the advertisement. Like, okay, yeah, my lungs are going to become black. Oh, well, like whatever. I'm scrolling past it. And maybe down the line, people are going to see that ad and it's not going to affect them. People smoke a cigarette and watch that ad nowadays because it's been, repeated so many times. And yes, they have the humor aspect, they have the fear aspect, but it's not going to be as effective if it's repeated over and over and over, like things like the Truth campaign have been. And even things like the fear-based advertising on the cigarette packages. Now, let's compare fear and promotion-focused approaches. To be honest, I think that the fear approach is helpful for the younger age groups, but I think promotion-focused approaches are more effective for older age groups because we know inherently that if we smoke cigarettes for a long period of time, we're going to do ourselves some harm. And often people who are smoking are not worried about that harm down the line. So, it can push people away from cigarettes if you use fear-based advertising. But also, like we talked about, you can get desensitized. But focusing on avoiding negative outcomes is what fear-based does. Promotion-focused advertisement, on the other hand, highlights the positive outcomes from quitting smoking. This, I think, is more effective for my age group and maybe mid-20s, mid-30s, even older, because they're driven by goals and aspirations. And if you quit or if you don't smoke, you're going to live a happier life. That's what this kind of, promotion-focused advertising focuses on. And I think this is more effective. Truth has some promotion-focused advertising, but I don't think it's anywhere near as effective as, some of the governments, you quit, some of that type of stuff. Definitely completely opposite end of the radar than the fear-based advertising on the graphic stuff on the cigarettes. Some advertising taglines for philanthropic causes, if I even said that correctly. I was thinking prevention focused, stop polluting today or our oceans will die tomorrow. This, to me, highlights the negative consequences of, not taking action. And then promotion focused, I was thinking join the movement to protect our oceans for a brighter, cleaner future. This emphasizes more the positive impact of taking action and achieving something great. But overall, it's important to know when to use fear-based approaches and when to use positive, promotion-driven approaches. I think that in the end, like I said, things like truth, we've all seen the advertisements. I think people are desensitized to it. I think, promoting quitting cigarettes and how much better your life will be. For example, like pharmaceutical ads, they talk about you take this medicine, all of a sudden you're in heaven, you're walking with your, spouse on the beach. These type of advertisements are going to be much more effective than the fear-based graphic pictures on the cigarettes in the long run. Thanks for listening. I hope I answered some of your doubts or questions about quitting cigarettes.